Hey there everybody, Eric coming at you today with another video. Today's video is on how I plan to fix the retention problems I have with my Boker Vox Rold Kydex sheath. Now if you know anything about the Boker Vox Rold, you'll know that most people have a problem with the Kydex sheath and its retention. Basically, right off the get-go when you get this knife, it has horrible retention. There's a ton of play, it's sketchy at best, and I'm planning on trying to fix this today. Now the main reason why I decided to take this on today is because I just got done filming the review video of my Benchmade 119 Arvensis, and this sheath system is awesome. I mean, if you've seen that review video, you know that I like this very, very much. The knife was great and the sheath was excellent, and so I know that if I don't do something to fix the problems I have with this Boker Rold and the sheath and the retention, that I will never pick this up and I will go to this every single time. And I'll tell you what, I really do. I love this Boker Vox Rold. It's a great knife. It has a great feel. I like D2 steel, and so I really want to find myself liking the sheath system better, so that it becomes an actual viable option for me, because as it is right now, without a really good suitable sheath, this pretty much has no reason to come with me on any of my trips. So just real quick, the way I'm going to go about approaching this is, first and foremost, in the past I had created myself a Kydex press, and so I do have basically a Kydex press that I can use. And I've made Kydex sheaths in the past. I'm not incredibly good at it, but I mean, I've dabbled and I can do it. So I have this sitting here. I know I can use it. And so I figured, what the heck, let's give it a try, see if I can heat this thing up and get it to form a little bit better to the knife and hopefully fix the retention problem. Now what I use to heat up this sheath is, first and foremost, it's an electric plug-in griddle. And so I start this process by pretty much getting this started on the griddle, and I'll flip this regularly as to not create any overly hot spots or any shiny spots, but I'm just starting to get this sheath up to temperature. I've already had this griddle turned on. It's running roughly approximately 250 degrees, and so I'm just going to start this thing on here, occasionally flopping it over and starting the process of heating this up. Now I can start to feel already that it's starting to get a little bit soft, and that's exactly what I want. I'm just going to stay here and monitor it, make sure I flip it over regularly, and get it so that it's uniformly heated up and the whole thing gets just a little bit on the soft side. Now in the meantime, while this is heating up, I'm just going to get a little bit of masking tape and throw a layer of masking tape over this blade, simply to make sure that the retention isn't too tight on the blade itself. And so I'm going to do that while I sit here and heat this thing up. Now I'm doubling up on the blade, just on the bottom where the cutting edge is, just to make sure that the Kydex doesn't get too tight and actually create a situation where it dulls the blade as I slide it in and out of the sheath. Now the sheath is starting to come up to temperature, but I want to also help it along a little bit. So what I'm going to do is, in addition to this hot plate here, I'm going to also use my heat gun, give it a little bit more application to the top of this, heat it up just a tiny bit faster to get it to go, and then I'll slide the knife in and get this in the press and see if we can snug this thing up. Now this is definitely starting to feel hot. I can feel the heat on my hands. This isn't exactly reacting completely like most of the Kydex that I've worked with. It might be a little bit thicker or a slightly different plastic, but at the same time it is starting to get a little bit on the soft side, and I think if I really put this in the press, it'll mold. So anyway, the next kind of piece of this is to work quickly, get this thing situated, get the knife installed into the sheath, get it put into the press and my clamps on, and you need to do that part of it reasonably quickly to make sure that everything forms the way that you need. And at this point, this is definitely starting to get hot and really soft, so I'm going to get going here and we'll get this thing into the press. Alright. And now that I have this in the press, I'll basically leave it here for maybe 10 minutes. It doesn't actually need that much time. And the reality is, if I really wanted to form this thing super, super nice, I probably would have heated up the actual press a little bit first so that the whole thing would cool uniformly. I mean, the problem is that the press is cool and the Kydex is hot, and as soon as you start to slide it in the cool press, it does start to solidify the plastic and harden up. So I'm hoping this is going to work. I mean, I'm certainly going to give it a try and see how it comes, but let's check this thing in about 10 minutes and see how it went. All right, so let's see what we get here. Pop these clips off, clamps I mean. And now, the moment of truth. That's already a good start. I'm liking that. Definitely feels a lot better. I mean, a little bit of rattle, but I mean, hey. So, even has a little bit of snap there. So far, so good. So let's take the tape off of this blade and see if it really worked. Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's not amazing, but I mean, it does clip in there now. I mean, it like legit clips in. I mean, I maintained my seam for the most part. It opened up just a tiny bit right there, but that's not too big of a deal. I could probably heat that up now, either with my hot air gun or even a hair dryer, and just pinch that shut. But you know, I still have my drainage holes and everything seems pretty true. Has maybe just ever so slightest of a tiny little bend to it, but all in all, I mean, I can even almost carry that vertically and the rattle's gone. So that is a huge step for this knife. Now the next step for me is this back plate here came off of the Arvensis sheath. Now on that Arvensis, I'm currently using one of those malice clips to attach it to a pack with a MOLLE adapter. And if you look here, this just so happens to be the exact same width on these grommets. And so now I can mount this up and have myself almost a nice little drop sheath. And I think this should work pretty good. Nice. That's going to be sweet. Excellent. Now that I have this clip on here, goes on my belt, pretty comfortable. It's not sitting too high. You know, I wouldn't mind if this sat just a little bit lower, but at the same time, that's still pretty good. You know, I can remove the knife from the sheath pretty easy. I seem to be getting just a little bit of rubbing here. I mean, I can see a little bit of plastic coming off of the back of this, but, you know, I think it'll probably work itself in time. Clips in, nice and secure. I mean, that is in nice and firm, no problem. Nice. I mean, you can even hear it now. Clicks right in. Sweet. So that, in and of itself, is enough to make this sheath now a viable option. Alright guys, so that was definitely a success. I'm thrilled. I mean, to go from basically having something that's completely useless to something that's actually pretty much right on par with some of the Kydex sheaths you get from other companies. I mean, what makes this any different from any other Kydex? In fact, at this point, I mean, it's got decent grommets, nice lashing points. It is Kydex, has drainage holes. I added a nice clip system. It has great retention, reasonably well form fit. To me, this thing's perfect. So I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.